Hello and welcome to Arts and Minds, introducing you to Bay Area artists and their art. I'm your host, Terry Hilton, and today I have with me animator Wrenn, who a lot of you regular viewers will know as the animator of Cheese Wars, which we have been showing on the end of our show, Arts and Minds. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Terry. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Well, we've had a lot of fun watching your animated pieces, and we're going to show a couple of them today. In fact, we're going to start right off with episode 6. Could you give us a little background about episode 6?
Sure. This is actually part 2 of episode 6, called Bunny the Brie Slayer.
Okay.
And our heroes, John, Scottish Mel, and Monterey Jack, have flown to Pittsburgh to try and meet a friend of theirs, a revolutionary colleague called the Major. Well, they discovered he was turned into a vampire, and just as the Major was about to kill them, they were saved by Bunny the Brie Slayer. Now, observant fans of the show might recognize some similarities to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but no, this is Bunny the Brie Slayer.
Okay.
And so we join episode 6 in progress as John, Scottish Mel, Monterey Jack, Bunny the Brie Slayer, and her watcher Bigglesworth attempt to clear out the Brie nest. This is like the home base of all the Brie in Pittsburgh.
Okay, and I've told you that's my favorite kind of cheese, Brie, but I won't be offended by this.
Right.
Great, we'll take a look.
Okay.
Brie. I can smell them, and they're getting runny too. That means they're desperate. You guys stay here. Don't get in my way, steroid boy.
What do your parents think of all your slaying?
Well, Dad thinks it's nice I have a hobby, and Mom goes to a lot of PTA meetings, so she's pretty busy.
Oh, my love. First, we shall destroy you.
Oh, a slayer, huh? Well, we could still eat you for lunch.
I haven't had me a slayer in 3 or 4 months. Arr!
It's my turn, it's my turn. You said I could have this when we had the last slayer. You promised, and I didn't get any of the last slayer, and you told me this time I could do it. How come I cannot, please?
We shall drink your blood.
Listen, doll, I don't care who you think you are. Nobody gets in the way of my way.
Then we will go antiquing in the vineyard.
Bigglesworth, what is it?
It's worse than anything we could have possibly feared. This is the mark of true evil, of the devil himself. Your revolution has been corrupted by none other than Limburger, cheese of darkness.
Wow, you've got a lot in there. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Matrix, I assume that's a reference to The Matrix.
Absolutely, The Matrix is one of my favorites.
So, what else is in there? What else inspired you?
I like to think of Cheese Wars as sort of Les Miserables meets The Simpsons. The basic story structure, we've got the wrongly accused John, who has been mistaken for a revolutionary leader named Schooner McQueen. And Monterey Jack and Scottish Mel are both members of this revolution, and they think that John is Schooner McQueen, and so they bust him out of prison. And John, not wanting to stay in prison, pretends that he's Schooner McQueen. But now he's worried that once Scottish Mel and Monterey Jack find out he's not Schooner McQueen, they're going to kill him. So he's just going to pretend to be Schooner McQueen. And all the while this is going on, there is a Marshal Jove who is pursuing the trio. as they go along. So we get a little bit of Les Miserables. And the Simpsons part is I just love parodying, you know, popular culture, The Matrix, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We did some Top Gun. We got the X-Files coming up in the next episode. So a little mix of everything.
Mix of genres,
Absolutely,
too. That's
absolutely.
So I guess the question that probably everybody is interested in is why cheese?
I don't have a dairy fetish or anything
No.
like that, no. When I first started Cheese Wars, it's the first thing I'd ever done in 3D, and I have no artistic skills whatsoever. So the cheese shapes, they're just triangles. They're real easy to draw. That's the only reason why it's made of cheese. As it turns out, though, cheese is easy to draw, but it's hard to animate. As humans, we've got nice, easy, you know, we got a good shape to animate. We got a wide shoulder range and stuff like that. But cheese, their arms are not big enough for their bodies, and sometimes you notice they can't actually touch their hands in front of them. So I have to do some animation to actually get their hands to touch if I ever need that. Also, they got really short, stubby legs. It makes it hard to animate too. So if I had to start over again, I'd make it some other snack food, maybe tortilla chips or something like that.
They could go with the cheese, perhaps.
Absolutely.
You could combine them,
Absolutely.
guest appearances. Now, this is all computer animated,
Yes.
and did you have a background in pen and paper animation?
Nope, like I said, I've got no artistic skill whatsoever.
So how
but,
did you get started animating with the computer?
I just like cartoons. The Simpsons is probably my favorite TV show of all time. Of course, you got Scooby-Doo and the Super Friends, and even go back to Star Blazers. And so I spent a lot of my misspent youth watching cartoons, as it were, and I just started doing computer animation because I wanted to do my own TV show. And since I didn't know any actors, I didn't have a budget to make sets or anything like that, computer animation seemed like the easiest way to do it.
And how would you get started? How did you get started doing that?
Just, you know, watching a lot of cartoons. I have a computer. I bought a real basic animation program called Raid Dream, and that's how I got started. The first couple episodes were actually more like a comic book. They were 3D still images and with a lot of text in there. And then I decided I wanted to try and make it a full cartoon, so gradually ramped it up to where it is today.
Wow. Well, we have a videotape of the process of the animation, and if you could speak about the process as we're watching it, I think that
we
would...
could do that.
Yeah.
This is using a program called Hash's Animation Master, which if anybody is interested in 3D animation, I heartily recommend. It's $299, and as you can see up there, we've got the 3D wireframe model. That's Monterey Jack. They start out like this wireframe. We build them point by point. Using something called splines. Instead, a lot of animation programs use polygons so that the character is actually made up of little triangles or squares or something like that. Animation Master uses this technology called splines, and it's real simple to draw stuff. It's like connecting the dots, really. You can see here his arm, that's his bicep. If I wanted to change the shape of his bicep, I'd just grab a couple points and move it around. Something like that. Or if we wanted to make his hand a different shape or make his arm longer so that he can actually reach in front of him and grab his hands, we just move it around like that.
Now, you say that you're not artistic at all. How do you create this actual cheese design here?
Well, I sort of knew what a wedge of cheese looked like.
Okay.
I just stuck arms on it. This is actually the skeleton, Monterey Jack's skeleton. They've got bones just like you or I do. They don't have any muscles. The bones work on the wireframe that you saw before. Jack's got about 50 bones in him. You can see them on the left side. They're scrolling. That's his complete skeleton. Only about 10 of those actually I actually used to make him move. The other ones are there. They actually follow the control bones. So it makes it a little easier to animate. You can see the skeleton's rigged, so his hips work just like a human's hips. So you move those around and his legs follow.
Dancing cheese.
That's really dancing cheese. Makes it a lot easier when I'm trying to make him walk or something like that. His feet don't go through the floor. His feet stay where you put them. He can move his hips around, and that's his elbow. Maybe move his wrist there a little bit to wave. He's got a backbone just like everybody else. It's made of vertebrae, 3 different vertebrae, one for his hips, one for his midsection and his shoulders there, and then he's got one at the top that moves his head. This is just a side view of him dancing, show you the leg motion, the knees bending and stuff like that. His legs are actually controlled just by that one bone on the bottom there, the ankle bone. So I move that, and his knee will bend, and his thigh will follow the ankle. Makes it
Like
a lot easier.
puppeteering, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is how I do the facial animation. That little yellow box there is an eye target, and I just move that around, and the eyes are set to automatically follow that wherever it goes. Makes it a lot easier than trying to line up each eye separately. Then those things on the left are called pose sliders, and to lip sync, there's 8 basic mouth shapes. And you can make all the different words out of these 8 basic mouth shapes. So I just listen to an audio track and go through it frame by frame and determine which sound needs to be when, and I set the mouth shape like that. Same thing goes with the eyebrows. You can tilt them. You can also move them up and down. Makes it a lot easier, this pose slider system here. Makes his eyes blink, open them and close them.
Now, do you find that computer animation is somewhat limited? Of course, if you're doing it by hand, the eyebrows can go any which way, and here you're restricted to left or right, up or down.
No, I can combine those, and it's a real basic animation. And if I wanted, I could make a whole bunch of different pose sliders. I could have one that makes his eyebrow go way off his body. In fact, they actually do that. You can't see it from the front view, but his eyebrows aren't attached to his head. That makes it a little more expressive. This is the actual animation. Those things in yellow are keyframes, and you see him stepping there. Each of those little keyframes tells a bone at what frame a position has to be in, how it has to rotate. You can see that each bone gets its own set of keyframes. Those 3 up on the top there are the backbone. So we eliminate those, and you can see now he's just sort of dancing instead of stepping on, squashing the alien as he's supposed to be doing in episode 8. And the ones at the bottom there are for his arm, and so you just delete those. And so once you get it set up, setting the keyframes like this takes a long time. But once you get it all set up, it's a relatively easy process to move them around and change the timing and stuff like that.
How computer literate does somebody need to be in order to run a program like this?
Not very. I'm not a computer genius by any standard. If you're an artist, it definitely helps. These programs are pretty basic, pretty simple. You don't need to be an expert or anything like that. You saw that was a skeleton doing the stepping motion. Once we've got the skeleton done, we look at the wireframe, make sure the motion looks okay on the wireframe. You see crossing his arms. You say, okay, well, that looks pretty much like I want it to look like, so let's see what it looks like with the skin on. And splat. That'll look really good once it's an episode. It doesn't look like much now, but once it's actually an episode, it looks pretty good.
Now, how long did it take you to animate that sequence that we just saw, the
stepping,
Buffy,
stepping motion?
Oh no, actually, the whole piece that we just saw, episode 6,
the bunny
part 2, yeah.
Oh, geez, a long, long time, a few hundred hours.
Yeah, and how long might it have taken you if you were doing it by hand?
Probably a lot longer than that. The animation process goes in 3 steps. There's modeling, animation, and rendering. Modeling is actually building the characters. That's pretty tough. It takes a while. The animation takes a long time. And once I've done with that, I just let the computer sit and render, and that's basically like painting by numbers. I've already told the computer which frame I want the guys to be in, and then it takes the time to render it and paint it, sort of, and that takes a long time. It takes 2 or 3 weeks, going 24 hours straight, to get something like 6 minutes out.
So your background is not in art, your background's not in computer, and yet you have this fantastic piece, and you're on your 8th. Is that what you're
yes,
on? You're working
we're
on
in the
your
middle.
right
in the middle of the 8th.
So what
episode.
is your background? How did you get started doing this?
I don't really have much of a background. I went to UC San Diego. I graduated 5 years ago with a degree in communication, doing television, broadcasting, stuff like that. And I came up here at Palo Alto. This is where I'm from originally. And I got a job actually working here at Cable Co-op in the local origination department. I worked on the sports show, Real Review, Conversation Piece, Newswatch. as a cameraman and director and producer and stuff like that. And that's basically my only television background, no animation background to speak of.
And you've actually done an animated piece for the Cable Co-op.
Yes, yes, we did a commercial for the new website. And yeah, it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, and we're going to take a look at it right here where we would normally have our public service announcement. We're going to show your work.
Great.
Is your mouse caught in a trap? Set it free with the Cable Co-op website. The most informative and up-to-date information on Cable Co-op is just a click away. Set your mouse free at cablecoop.com.
Not as exciting as Cheese Wars, but
No.
I like the dancing mouse, though.
Oh, good.
Okay. So you are the creator, the writer, the director, and you do several of the voices.
Yes, I do 4 of the voices.
Wow. And how do you decide what an appropriate voice is for?
Monterey Jack is a little bit of Clint Eastwood. He talks real soft, real low. Sort of, hi, Terry. How you doing?
Now, how did you decide that?
He just was Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood is my hero. And
now, actually, to help you out with this question, I was at the store earlier and I ran into a couple of your coworkers.
Uh-oh.
So I brought them here. I thought they might want to share in the interview. I brought Ms. Gouda.
Ms. Gouda?
Yes.
Oh, don't ask me to do Glenda's voice.
Do you do hers on the show?
I do Glenda Gouda's voice, however, it's artificial. I'm ashamed to admit it. I talk as high as I can in my best falsetto, and then I have to put it into a computer and raise the voice even more.
All right.
So that's
so
artificial.
we won't have you do that live.
Okay.
We have Cheddar here, though.
This is John. John's the main character, the guy who's mistaken for Schooner McQueen. And John is sort of, he's not stupid, but he's kind of slow. You know, he's got a little bit of southern drawl to him, and he likes to think about what he's saying, take his time, really think his words through.
And we have, of course, Monterey Jack.
Monterey Jack,
Clint.
yes. Yeah, there's no messing with Monterey Jack. He is the toughest cheese on the block.
Now, just to see how skillful you really are, I'm wondering if I could perhaps interview the cheese for a moment, and they could respond. Yeah.
I gotta channel them here. Let's see if I can get their spirit
Let's see. I'll
going.
let you choose who's going to respond to the question.
Why don't we go with Monterey Jack?
Monterey Jack. All right, Mr. Jack.
Okay.
Good to have you here. Glad you could join us, Monterey Jack.
I'm glad to be here, Terry.
How do you feel about the expression "say cheese" when people use that before a photograph? Do you find that that's stereotyping cheese, making it seem that you're always smiley, grinning?
Frankly, Terry, I don't really give a damn. A lot of my cheesy brethren think it's offensive, think it is stereotypical, but they're just a bunch of whining hypocrites. Who cares? I got more important things to do.
Well, another burning question is, in today's day and age, when we have people who are fat conscious and we have people who are lactose intolerant, how do you feel about that? What is the role of cheese in the 20th century?
Well, you just say no to lactose intolerance. That's the worst kind of racism there is. Really, being intolerant towards lactose, really, that's just not acceptable. As far as being fat conscious, hey, you gotta live with who you are. You make the best of what you got, right?
That's what I say.
Absolutely.
All right, well.
Just hit the gym. You're too fat, you hit the gym. That's what you do.
That's right. I'm not giving up cheese.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Jack,
Well,
for
it's good
joining
to be
us.
here.
Ms. Gouda, Mr. Cheddar, very, very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
So aside from these voices, you also have quite a bit of music and quite a bit of classical music in your pieces. At what point is that added?
Oh, that's done in the final process. I don't actually use the classical music anymore because it's not mine to use. So I've been writing my own music. And if there are any musicians out there who'd like to volunteer their service, I'm not a very good musician either. So if there's anybody out there who actually has a background in music and would like to write music for an internet cartoon, let me know.
You seem to be doing all right despite not having a background in
Well, thank
any
you.
of these things. When you did use the classical music, though, did you find that you animated to the classical music, or did that all come in post-production where you found a piece to go with the action?
No, I pretty much knew what I wanted to use. We didn't see it tonight, but there's a dogfight scene, and that plays with a little bit of Grieg, or Grieg, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. The one tonight, the Beethoven's Ninth, that's just a great piece of film music. It needs to be used pretty much with everything, I think. In every movie there should be a scene with Beethoven's Ninth.
And what are your plans now for the future? What lies ahead aside from more Cheese Wars episodes?
I don't know. I'll probably try and keep making more episodes. They're getting more and more detailed. I found that back with the episode 4 and episode 5, I just sort of cranked them out. I just wanted to get it done. I didn't care what the animation looked like. And now I find that I actually care what the animation looks like, and so that's making it, slowing down the process, as it were. But we're trying to keep them going. Hopefully I can find a way to make money off of it. That'd be nice.
All right. Well, we have one final episode to show, episode 7, which is the most current episode. And do you want to give us a setup for that?
Yes. Okay. Well, as you saw, John, Monterey Jack, Bunny the Bee Slayer, they defeated the vampires. And at the very end there, Bigglesworth was holding up a medallion and said something about their revolution has been corrupted by Limburger cheese of darkness. Well, that's where we are.
Okay. Great.
Your revolution has been corrupted by none other than Limburger, cheese of darkness.
Oh, my.
Foolish mortals.
Did you really believe you could start a revolution without me? Where is Scooter McQueen? The hat's right, but who... Oh, I see. Oh, this is rich.
Do you want something, or did Mrs. Prince of Darkness kick you out of the house again?
Impudent wench.
My requirements are very simple. If you want your revolution to succeed, you must choose one of 2 options. You may have liberty, democracy, and freedom for the simple price of your soul.
Or
you cut me in on 45% of the back end, including merchandising. What? Bloody hell. That's just barbaric. What about our distribution costs and marketing overhead? You have 1 week to decide. What the hell? Son of a biscuit. They need me in LA again? Those incompetent fools. Until you reach a decision,
You will all writhe in the fiery pits of my damnedest infernos.
Curdles. Those morons said it was all fixed. When I invented tech support, I didn't expect it to come back and bite me. Excuse me, you're supposed to be writhing too. I knew I shouldn't have made that deal with that Gates nerd.
You're just telling me that the gentleman who does the Scottish voice is actually an Asian gentleman.
Yes, he lives in
Wow.
Hong Kong. A high school friend named Larry Yu. He does Scottish Mel. He also did Limburger in that last one. Got some other college friends, Jason Snell, Phil Michaels, Lisa Schmeisser, do some of the other voices. Jason was Bigglesworth. Phil and Lisa were the little vampires.
Great. And your friend does it actually from Hong Kong?
Yes, yes. He's located in Hong Kong.
Wow.
Used the internet, the wonders of technology to help bring Cheese Wars together.
Impressive. Well, you've told us a little bit about what you plan to do next in animation. I know you're hoping to go forward and would ideally like to land a job in animation.
Absolutely. Anybody out there hiring, let me know.
But in the meantime, you have gone ahead and you're in pre-med classes right now.
Yeah, sort of taking a little jump there, switch gears. But yeah, I just recently enrolled at San Jose State. Going to finish up my pre-med classes. And if nothing works out with the animation, then we'll go to med school.
And you'll be a doctor. All right. Well, that's not such a bad fallback profession.
No, not at all.
All right. Great. Do you see a correlation between the two?
No.
No. All right. Fair enough. What would you say to aspiring animators out there?
Well, I'm still pretty much an aspiring animator myself, but as long as you don't mind not sleeping, you can pretty much put together your own cartoon show too.
Okay.
That's the key, not sleeping.
Not sleeping, and then going to Fry's and picking up
Going to Fry's. Hash is Animation Master. It's available at the website www.hash.com. And no, they're not paying me for this. It's only $299, but if you order it, tell them I sent you. Maybe they'll cut me a deal.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I will look forward to episode 8, which will be sure to air on this show.
Absolutely. Thanks.